It worked. Yeah. It worked. It worked. Nice. Yay. Okay, good. All right. So right now, you know 2 useful ways to write an equation, and I'll wait till you guys are done. And there is a third one we're going to talk about today. Okay. So actually, let's just write them up for a second. There are 3 useful ways to write equations of straight lines. So let's just list them. Is that all on there? Yes. Okay. What's the first one? What's it called? Point slope form. Excuse me, not point slope. Let's do the one you know. Slope intercept, right? All right, what is the formula for the slope intercept? What's the formula for the slope intercept? Jackson. What's the formula for the slope intercept? Skylar, what is it?
Y equals mx plus b.
There you go. Y equals mx plus b. So Jackson, why is it called that? Why is it called the slope intercept?
Because there's like slopes.
Why is y equals mx plus b called the slope intercept? What do you have in that equation? Where? In this form, what is the slope? M, right. M, this is the slope.
Yeah.
Right, you know this, right?
Yeah.
You know how to graph. You always take the fraction in front of the x, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your slope. What's the y-intercept?
Like the.
Yeah, but in this equation, where is it?
It's
mx plus b.
Is it y? Or is it b?
It's b.
It's b. That's what I'm asking. Intercept, right? That's why it's called the slope intercept form. It gives you a slope immediately. You don't have to do anything to find it. It's right there. That is your slope. That's your y-intercept. That's why it's called the slope intercept form, right? So as long as you remember that it's called the slope intercept form, you always will know where the slope is and where the intercept is.
So, you always write these formulas in lowercase. Is there a reason that they're always lowercase, or is that just?
It's more common in algebra to use lowercase for most stuff. Once you move into geometry, oftentimes you'll actually have uppercase things. Every now and then you will have. Let me see, I'm trying to think.
You'll have it in
90%. It seems like almost always, in algebra, most letters are written in lowercase. Totally fine to write them in uppercase. It's like as long as we can read them. The B does sometimes look like a 6, so make sure the B isn't a 6, right?
Or it could look like an 8.
And the what?
How? Or an 8 if you do an uppercase.
Yeah, right. A capital B would look like an 8. That's right. All right. What's the second one that you know?
Something.
It's called the Y, where the X's and the Y's are on the same side.
It's called the
X and Y intercept?
Well, that's what we use to graph it. You're right. You're totally on the right track.
Yeah.
But it's called the
Standard form.
Standard form.
Jackson,
Right?
like standard form.
Standard form, and that would be AX plus BY equals C. That's a B. Plus BY equals C. Where A is a number, B is a number, and C is a number.
Equals
C.
CZ.
And-
CZ.
All right, so Jackson remembered that the easiest way to graph these oftentimes is to use your X and Y intercepts, right? To find X intercept, you make Y 0. To find the Y intercept, you make X 0. Really easy to graph when you use that method. The third one is the point slope form, which is what we're going to talk about today. Point slope form. I think oftentimes there's a hyphen in there. And this is the equation. Y minus Y1 is equal to M times x minus x1.
What?
And it's a very scary looking formula at first.
Yeah.
It is, but if you get past the scariness of it and start to understand this equation, it will save you tons of time. It makes certain things way easier than if you didn't use the point slope formula, right? So what would you think? Well, actually, you know what I want? Well, that's okay. I'll do it right here. What would you think it would give you in that equation based on the name?
Like you're going upwards thing? No. Yes. The line. Something.
Something like what?
A slope.
A slope for sure. You'd expect that they gave you a slope. What else?
A point slope.
A point, right? You'd expect that, like even with a slope intercept, I don't have to do any calculations to find my slope. It's right there. I don't have to do any calculations to find my y-intercept. It's right there. Right? You agree with me? They called that the slope intercept. They call this the point slope form. I would guess that I wouldn't have to do anything to find my slope in this. That it's just, I don't have to do any calculations. It's right there. What is it? Where is it?
Minus 2 equals...
My slope. My slope.
It's the M.
It's the M, right? M, mountain
Oh my
slope.
God, smartness.
Right? This is your slope.
Right.
That right there is your slope.
Slope intercepting.
Slope. In algebra, they always use M to denote slope. Always is M. It's a regular thing. So you always, whenever they're talking about slope, they will always say M. So the way I remember it is mountain slope, right?
Go wash your hands with M.
Now, they also suggest in this name that they gave us a point. And it's too hard to guess, so I'm going to just tell you. This is the point.
But what is the point?
I'm about to tell you. It's
What
x sub 1, comma, y sub 1.
What?
X sub 1, comma, y sub 1.
What is a sub 1?
Okay,
How will we find out?
so Aiden, can you zip forward and just listen?
Wait,
You're talking too much to Jackson.
Yeah.
sub 1 or no?
What's the gap?
So, this is the part that you really have to pay attention to because it's tricky. And it's where most people mess up. So notice the formula, the point slope formula has a y minus a y1. Now why would they say y1 or y sub 1 really is what it says. Okay, and why would they say x? They have an x and they have an x sub 1. All right, so these are actual numbers, right? The y sub 1 and the x sub 1 and the m are all real numbers in an equation. Okay, I need more room, so I'm going to erase a little. Is that okay? I don't need any of this. I don't need that. I think I'm going to just move this up here and do it. Start up here. So y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And my m is equal to my slope. And my x sub 1, comma, y sub 1 is my point. Okay? I'm just going to erase this for now. Okay. So now, let's actually see an actual equation, the way you will see this. Like I said, this is going to be a number, this is going to be a number, and this is going to be a number. So, here's an example. Y plus 2 is equal to 1/2 x plus 5.
Is this like a problem we're going to
What would you think? What would you think my slope is?
Oh, wait.
Yes, Bella.
5 and 2.
My slope. My slope.
It's the
1 over 2.
it's the
It's
1
1/2,
over 2.
right? Yeah, 1/2. That's my slope. Okay, immediately I see that. Now, okay, what do you think my point is? What would you think the point is?
The x plus 5? No.
Well, look, this is the point. It's x sub 1, y sub 1. Where is your x sub 1? This is where your x sub 1 is. This is where your y sub 1 is.
It's 5 and 2. It's 2 and 5.
All right.
It's 7.
So, right, but how would I write it as a point?
2,
2, 5.
5, 2.
2, 5.
2,
Or no, 5, 2.
5, 2. It's interesting. The x is off on the right now, isn't it? We want that on the left. So now this is what people are thinking, right? I'm not saying this is right now, but this is what people are saying, that it is 5, 2. Am I right?
No, but you have to do like the x and the y's, right? You have to do like the plus and
The x and the y's.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm trying to write a point. A point is written as a parenthesis, x, y, parenthesis, right? And I'm trying to find the point in this equation. Now, the thing is though, let's look at the original equation. Look at this. The original equation has negative signs in it, right here and right here.
Oh my God.
Okay? So that's really important. When you have a negative sign in a formula, so Zane, pay attention. This is really important right now. When you have a negative sign in a formula, then it messes things up. It reverses things, right? If I was going to write this point in this equation, what would it be? It would be y minus 2, right? You guys are not, Jackson, you need to move, buddy. You're not paying attention. Something's happening. All right, I'll give you one more chance. Okay, but look, we have y, here's the formula, minus y1. If this is right, that's y1, that's 2, equals 1/2 in this case, and then x minus, here's my x, 5. Is that the same equation as this?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
there's a plus.
Yeah,
There's a plus in this one, right? There's a plus here and a plus here. There's a minus in this one, minus. That's so weird. The point is positive 5, but my x is negative 5. I mean, it looks like it's negative 5 here, right? It looks like negative 5 because the formula has a negative in it. Does that make sense? The formula has a negative in it. But the actual point is the opposite of negative 5. It's positive 5. The opposite of negative 2, positive 2. Do you see that? Does that make sense to you? So we're going to do a bunch of these, and you're going to start to see it. You'll get used to it. But so to find the point, it's going to be the opposite of this, which is positive 5. In this case, this point is 5, comma. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. What is the point now of this one?
Negative 5, negative 2.
The opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. You with me? The opposite of positive 2 is negative 2.
I'm not with you. Okay, I got it.
Okay? The reason why, remember, when we took this point and created an equation, Amaya, we followed this formula, y minus, and then we put the 2. And then we put 1/2 equals 1/2 x minus, and then we put the 5. So, but this says, if you look at this point, it looks like a negative 5. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Yes, Amaya? Doesn't look like, but it's going to be a positive 5. Because the negative comes from the formula, not the number. Does that make sense?
How do you know then? Yeah.
How do you know
it's
what?
It's the formula that you have to like plug it into the formula and say it
Right.
the actual number. Oh, I get it.
Does that make sense?
See, light bulb.
So we plugged this in. The 2 goes into the formula right there. So it'd be x minus 2. I'm sorry, x minus 5. X minus 5. The 2 goes into this formula here. It'd be y minus 2. But now here, if I plug them in, the x would be negative minus a negative 5. Or negative 5, positive 5, plus 5. And then negative 2, y minus a minus 2 is y plus 2. You with me? You get it? All right, so let's try a few. Let's just get used to it. Let's just identify points and slopes and lots of things. So what if I gave you y is equal to, excuse me, sorry, I'm in the wrong mode here. Y minus 4 is equal to 2 parenthesis x minus 7. Okay, what's my slope?
2.
M is equal to 2. right? What's my point?
Then so what would
Negative
it
7,
and 4?
comma, negative 4.
It's going to be the opposite of this.
7, like
Positive 7, comma, the opposite of this.
4.
Positive 4, right? So it'd be 7, comma 4. Make sense?
No. Yes. I
Yes.
don't know.
So, my man, it's the opposite of here. That's your x1. Opposite of that is positive 7. The opposite of that is positive 4. Okay? All right. How about this one? How about y plus 2 equals 3 times x plus 3. What's the slope?
3.
3. What's the point?
-3,
-3, comma,
-2.
-2. Correct.
So you want us-
The opposite of this, comma, the opposite of this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do you want us to write down the slope as well? The
Yeah.
homework?
So wait, on number 1.
I can't remember what I
so,
did on the homework.
Wait, the number 1, the point would be -5 and -2.
I'm sorry, what?
So then so is the slope 7, comma 4? Or is the
The slope
point?
is the m, remember?
Yeah.
M equals slope. M is this in the number in front of the parenthesis. So that's the slope. 2 is the slope of this one.
But
3
then
is the
so we're not trying to find the slope.
You don't have to find anything. This is an equation that tells you these things. You just have to know how to see it, how to read those things. But you need to know how to read the slope. The slope is the m. Man, the slope is the m. It's in front of the parenthesis, right? So that's in front of the parenthesis. That's the m. That's the slope, 2. The point is this, comma this, right? Or really, it's actually what looks like the opposite of this and the opposite of this, the opposite of this and the opposite of this. All right, so try one more. Y plus 1 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. Slope is what?
3.
3. Okay, point. What is that?
2, -1.
2 comma, the opposite of this, positive 2. The opposite of this, -1. Fist to 5. You getting it? Is it making sense?
Wait, the camera's still rolling, right?
What?
Camera's still rolling.
Camera's still rolling, yes. Okay, now, so let me just look in this really fast. Okay, so that's part 2 of the homework. Now, part 1 is actually, let's say I gave you a slope and I gave you a point, could you write an equation? Right now, what we've been doing is I've been giving you an equation and then you tell me, oh, the slope is this and the point is this, right? Now I'm going to do it in the reverse. I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a slope and a point, and I'm going to ask you, can you write an equation for of a line that goes through that point and that slope? And so let's try it. Right. Okay, so write an equation. So this is what you'll see, basically. Write an equation of a line with the given point and slope. Okay, so for example, I give you the slope is equal to 4/5, and the point is equal to 2, 6.
A PT.
So what is, yeah, that's PT. I don't know. Do you guys not know how to do cursive anymore? You're not taught cursive anymore?
I don't like cursive.
I don't like
It's
cursive.
too
I know how to do
too
it.
fancy.
So the point is 2, 6. Okay. So what would be my equation?
So then the equation would be
-6.
Y minus y sub 1. This is my y sub 1. This is my x sub 1, right?
So, oh yeah.
So y minus 6
Y minus 6
equals
equals
4/5
over 5,
x
comma X
minus, because the formula has minus,
minus 2.
negative 2, I mean positive 2, right? Yeah, so, right? Yes,
Oh my
that
God,
look
we
right?
did it, Gary.
Okay, let's try another one. The slope is 2/3, and the point is -3, 5. So what's my equation?
Y.
Y minus, because there's a minus in the formula, 5
equals
equals,
2
my slope is 2/3, right?
parentheses
X. The formula has a minus sign in it.
minus
3.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What does minus turn into?
It makes a positive plus sign.
It makes a plus sign.
Couldn't you just do minus? It's the opposite already.
Well,
you
the
just write
slope,
minus
the formula says x minus, so I have to write my x minus first.
So, but okay, sorry, I thought
And
you were
then
saying
it
like
says-
you just write
And then
x.
it says a -3, so I put -3, right? Minus a -3 is a plus 3, right? Okay, let's try another one. 3. The slope is 1/2, and the point is -1, -8. What's my formula?
Okay, y plus negative.
Wait. The formula
plus
says y
8.
minus.
I'm sorry, y plus 8.
Y minus a -8, which means y plus 8, correct?
What do you write y plus 8?
So y plus 8,
Yeah, you would.
y plus 8 equals
Equals
1/2,
1/2, and then
parentheses,
parentheses
x
plus
minus or plus
1.
plus 1.
Right.
What the fuck?
So you can always double check your work, right? In each case, look at this. This has to be the opposite of the point, right? The opposite of 6 is -6, so it's got to be y minus 6. The opposite of 2 is -2, so it's got to be x minus 2, right? The opposite of 5 is -5, so it's got to say y minus 5. The opposite of -3 is +3, so it's got to say x plus 3. You see what I'm saying? That's your way of checking your work, making sure you got it right, right? -8, it's got to say y plus 8. -1, it's got to say x plus 1. -1 got to be plus 1, right? See what I mean? So fist of 5, you guys get it? It's really useful. If I asked you to do this, I mean, there's typical problems that they'll ask where there's another way they usually teach you, which is good too. We'll learn that as well. But this is by far easier than the other method that is often taught. And it's a great great shortcut. And algebra is all about shortcuts. So I'm going to pass out the homework and then we are done. Oh wait, let me turn this off. There's also